Hi everyone, welcome to the Tuesday edition of the Walt Wines Happy Hour. Thanks for joining us today for a little respite in the afternoon to enjoy a great glass of wine, some great conversation, and I've got, honestly, I'm super excited. I can't tell you how excited I've been for this show. I have a very special guest from one of my favorite guilty pleasures. Captain Lee from Bravo's Below Deck will be joining me in just a moment, and I am over the moon. I don't know if you guys have seen the show, but if you ever need something to do for 3 hours, incredible views, beautiful people, he's just awesome. Stay tuned. We'll be right there for that. We'll be right with Captain Lee as soon as he can join us. We'd like to take this moment, though, to thank everyone who's been in the shelter in place and everything that's been going on that's keeping us home. I want to thank those first frontline responders. Those people are keeping us fed. Those people are keeping us healthy, and those people that are keeping us safe. In addition, I wanted to thank all the firefighters. As you have all seen, we've been facing another one of our California wildfires here. Got a little crazy there for a minute, but luckily we have some of the best firefighting in the country, I think, if not the world. We're getting a lot of help from the world. I wanted to thank them specifically. We're about 70% contained in Napa Valley. Everything so far is blue sky. I'm looking forward to going out for a run afterwards. I hope you will come join us. We're tasting wine. We're outdoors. Napa Valley just opened up restaurants inside, so come visit us in Sonoma and Napa. And then the last thing I always like to bring up is all of these wines are available on the website, and our summer sale is actually ending this weekend. So some of the wines that you're going to be able to taste in these shows are going to be available on that website. Be sure to go there, grab a bottle, and get it ready for your show. So I shared a little story on Twitter for those of you who are not following me probably clearly. I am a avid follower of Pod Save America, and Dan Pfeiffer on the pod one day said, my guilty pleasure is watching Below Deck, and this was probably a year ago. And I said, what is Below Deck? I was like, this is great. I got to check this out. So I go online and I start watching on demand. I watched season 1, then I watched season 2, then I watched season 3, and it was just like one after the other, and I just got completely hooked. And the main reason I got Captain Lee Rosbach, I think, if I pronounce his last name, sorry, Rosbach. And he's just the character. And there he is, Captain Lee. Thank you so much for joining us today.
How you doing, pal?
I'm doing great. I can't believe that I've actually got this opportunity to hang out with you this afternoon. Thank you for coming all the way from Florida for us.
Pleasure's mine.
You okay with being on land right now, or how's that feel for you?
Not for an extended period of time, but for the time being, it'll work.
If you get your land legs back, and then you got to go, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Hey, I'd love to pour you a glass of wine. I've brought our 2018, this is our Walt Labrisa Pinot Noir. This is a wine that you can find at restaurants, but also directly from the winery on our website. It's from the Sonoma in a place called the Wind Gap, which is not too far from me. It's the reason why you've got all this wind behind you. Perfect sailing weather. If I could drop that down to you in Fort Lauderdale, I'd appreciate it. So we're just going to bring it down. There it is. Perfect. Excellent job. That was very good. Very well done, Captain. Feel free to pour yourself a glass. It's probably a little later. It's 4 o'clock on the Pacific. But cheers to you. And cheers to your crew. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you're obviously taking a break from sailing right now, but are you active on a ship? Are you chartering? Are you sailing?
I just got back from a trip to Nantucket. I just went up there for a little R&R. Did some bluefin tuna fishing.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun. But chartering is really the ideal situation for being able to isolate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have your own group of people, everybody gets a test, you get on board the boat, the crew's been tested, and you get away from the dock and you have no worries.
You've got them under your control.
It's the perfect vacation.
Nice.
For this situation that we have now. You don't have to worry about hotel rooms and maids and exposures and that sort of thing. So It really works
No,
out.
I actually, if I could get to, I think I told you in the pre-show, my wife's mom lives in Pembroke Pines. So if we could get there, my plan was to, take a sail out to Bermuda and back, and that would have been a great
Oh,
way to just spend a
that's
couple
a great
days.
trip.
Yeah, super quick. So what are you
That's
sailing? Do you have your own boat, or are you sailing other
no,
people in Nantucket?
I have, yeah, other people's boats are really nice.
Yeah, aren't they?
Yeah, you have all the benefits and none of the expense. So all you
It's
have
the
to do is
saying,
like
right?
kick in for some fuel, drop some tips here and there, and everything's good.
And everything's great. And so it's true what they say about a boat ownership, right? The best and worst day of a boat owner's life is the day they buy it and the day
You
they
know,
sell it.
actually, I don't think there's a boat owners once you're bitten by it, it
Uh-huh.
just kind of stays with you. It just really does. And I think no, the best day is when you buy it, and the worst day is when you have to give it up. I really
Ooh,
believe that.
yeah.
When you're a true yachtsman,
Hmm.
you don't do it. You don't do it because you know the money's irrelevant.
Right.
It truly is.
Yeah.
Because a bad day on the water is better than a great day anywhere else.
So you are the king of one-liners, by the way. As I was following the show, you have
Thank you.
some of the best ways to say something in like 5 words. So I was hoping what we could do was a little quick fire questions. I know a lot of people have gotten to know you on the show. It was insanely, it was spectacularly successful. But if you don't mind, we've got some questions to ask the captain. If you're okay with that.
Sure.
All right. These
Have
are
I
meant to.
have I had enough wine yet?
Well, see, I thought I had to drink a little bit of wine to get ready for you because if I know anything about you, the questions or the answers are going to come really direct. So that's why we were hoping for the quick fire.
Pretty much.
All right, easiest question I could think of. What did you have to drink last night?
Uh, Stoli on the rocks
Good call. I like that. More of a Kettle One man myself, but I
with a
still
twist.
with a twist. All right. Favorite all-time place to yacht?
Oh wow. Right now, I'd have to say Tahiti.
Season
Tahiti
six,
was
right?
just like it was like Jurassic Park. Yeah, season
Incredible.
6, Jurassic Park. The mountains are green from the very base all the way up to the top, and you expect to see a T-Rex coming out from behind every cliff. It's just really incredible,
That's amazing.
and
And you
it's
were
so
saying,
unspoiled. There's
uh,
we would pull into an anchorage and where you go to the British Virgin Islands, you go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and you're
mhm,
just like you're fighting for spots to drop the hook.
yeah,
Down there, one of 2 or 3 boats there, and it's so pristine. It's truly, truly remarkable.
so I think we should just go there. I'm ready right now.
I'm
I
in.
can after 2020 we can just
I am.
bypass and
Oh,
turn off.
hell yeah.
Oh, cheers to you for that. Yeah, and you talked about Tahiti being one of the more technical places with all of the reefs coming in. Is that does that play into
Yeah,
the excitement of
we
sailing?
when we were down there, we anchored a couple of times in a place called Chopu,
Hmm.
which is a world-class surfing destination.
Okay.
And when the big ones start rolling in at Chopu, the word goes out, and all of the world-class surfers, the big wave riders,
Hmm.
drop whatever they're doing, get on a jet, and
Yep.
they get there. And it's just really, really remarkable to watch and to observe firsthand. And
Yeah,
when you
it's
see them coming
it's
in, and the Tahitians are such inherently just great surfers.
yeah.
And we got the stuff that you pay for to watch on TV. We're sitting there anchored, and we're just
And
watching it live, and it's just like this is incredible.
yeah. No, I'm very jealous of your job. Just hanging out on a boat watching people surf. That's I had to leave
I
that life in college, unfortunately.
I have the best goddamn job in the world.
Yes, you do. All right, how about what's the most unique dish you've ever eaten? So you've eaten some great food. You have some great chefs on your shows and probably on your ships.
Uni.
Uni. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any specific spot of the world that you've eaten uni?
No, you can, it's readily available most places, but especially when you have world-class chefs on board, you can't really be afraid to jump out there and take a chance.
Right. Yeah.
And
No, absolutely.
you have to set just go for it. Nothing says you have to like it, but give it a try. You might.
Yeah, for
And you
sure.
got nothing
Yeah.
to lose but 30 seconds and maybe a bad experience. But other than that, no.
Overboard? A bad experience overboard?
It might be. It
I may have
could
had
end
one
up
of
that
those.
way.
I may have had one of those in the Santa Barbara Pier after I bailed out over a over a 14-foot Capri.
Exactly.
So, next question we wanted to ask you was complete this sentence. Every yacht should have a what?
Wow.
I didn't. Okay.
Gotcha.
Coming
That's
from a
tough
captain.
because yachting is such a compromise. If you
Okay.
want one thing, then you have to give up something else. Like if you want to, you want to have a huge interior area,
Mm-hmm.
then you have to give up some of the exterior area.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's just everything in yachting is such a compromise. So every yacht has to have a great captain.
Absolutely. There you go. I'll quote you on that one. There's the one liner we were looking for. And then finally, the only question we were going to ask you about wine was, what's the most expensive wine you've ever had on board?
I cannot recall the name of the wine,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but I remember this charter distinctly. And my wife was with me. She was the chief stew,
Mm-hmm.
and we had the celebrity on board, and which I can't name,
That's fine.
but we get what we call an APA, Advanced Provisioning Allowance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's money that you use to go out and you provision the boat, you buy the liquor, you buy the wine, you buy whatever they want. And if they
Mm-hmm.
don't really fill out their preference sheet properly, you're not sure, like, okay, what's a middle of the road wine?
Mm-hmm.
Do I spend, because we buy wholesale.
Right.
And do we spend 60, 70? Do we spend $100, $200 a bottle? And is the guy going to think this is too extravagant, or is he going to be upset with it?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I bought a couple of cases of wine, and it was like $100 a bottle, $1,200 a case.
It's a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah, and didn't suit his palate. And so he sent out, and he brought back wine that was $1,200 a bottle.
Oh, all right. Well, now we're talking.
Which, yeah, and I was just like, boy, I called that one wrong. And I was blown away because he brought on like 3 cases of it.
And they went through it all?
Oh yeah, and there were only 2 people on board.
Wow.
But he
Good
extended the charter. The charter was originally for 1 week, and there
Mm-hmm.
was him, his girlfriend, and security, and that was it. And then they extended for a 2nd week.
There's no more private place for people to go who are in the celebrity than probably a private yacht out in the water, my guess.
It was truly amazing on that charter because it was funny because we were at a very exclusive island that you could only get to by water.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, if it's an island, didn't have a bridge going to it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were pictures of him showing up on the tabloids the next morning of him on the boat. And you're going like, people went through all sorts of things. They would dress up as maintenance workers.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And it was just like a constant job
Mm-hmm.
for his security team to try and keep it private.
For sure. Yeah.
And we were actually leaving. We were leaving the island one day to go out, enjoy the water. And we had to turn back because there was somebody on the dock with a camera.
Oh, geez.
And went back, security got him, got his film, took care of it. But it was just like, okay,
That's their job.
it's kind of cool.
So I mean, when you roll
But I
out
mean,
like
that
to
was
the
his
house,
private time. That was his downtime.
for sure.
You know, he should be allowed that privilege.
So what kind of security detail do you and your wife carry? Because, you know, I know that I would
No,
want to say hi to you if I were to.
no, I don't. If I'm out in public, I'm fair game.
So
I don't mind. I'm flattered and honored.
oh, well,
I don't consider myself a celebrity. I'm just a captain that gets filmed doing his job.
well, right now I can tell you that we're having one of the highest viewerships that we've seen on our Instagram live. So I'm just going to respectfully disagree with you, Lee. This is a pretty cool day for us. Wanted to
I'm
come
happy
back
to
to the
be here.
wine. Well, thank you. I wanted to come back to the wine and see if you had any thoughts about it.
Please.
Talk a little bit about the wine. I'll give you a chance to drink it. So this is this is called the Brisa. The Brisa is from a part of Sonoma that's called the Wind Gap. It's an area that connects the Bodega Bay. If you're familiar with the Birds, the movie The Birds, and the Bodega Bay.
You know, that's funny because we go to a place in Acapulco,
Mm-hmm.
and we stay at a place called Las Brisas,
Oh, yeah.
which is
There's a
very
great
similar.
restaurant in Laguna Beach called Las Brisas.
Really?
Yep, it's just up from the main beach, and you can go check it out. And then you can also come to Sonoma and drink this wine anytime you'd like. But
You can count on that.
well, so that's like the security story you're just talking about. I'd have to tell the winery like, okay, you can't come. Like, you know, we can't have everybody there that day. Alexandra would just be like, she and I would just be lining up to, you know, hang out with you guys and drink wine.
I would love it.
Yeah. So this is a wine that's from two different vineyards. It's a blended Pinot Noir. It has two different Pinots in it. It's the big dark fruit flavors that come from a vineyard called Gap's Crown. That's that mid palate that you're really getting if you try it. And then the freshness, the acidity, the beautiful red fruit is all about our Bob's Ranch, which is Catherine Hall. She's the owner of the winery. It's her father's. It's a vineyard that's named for her dad, Bob Walt. He was a pharmacist by trade, but owned a vineyard and a house for her parents, and that's really how Catherine got started and how.
There's two Bobs involved in her story, aren't there?
Well, there's Bob's the vineyard and Bob's the man.
Yeah.
And then there's Craig.
And then we also have the BFF.
Oh.
Which doesn't mean what everybody thinks it means.
No. Bunny foo-foo.
Which I think is a very unique story.
So I think thank you. Appreciate it. So you've checked us out a little bit.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Pinot is one of my favorite wines, the Pinot Noir.
Oh, okay. So what's your take on this wine then?
I love it. It's very nice. It's very smooth. It's something I would order.
Okay. I mean, I can have someone follow up with you after this phone call if you like. Just
Absolutely.
No, we actually we do provision some ships in Fort Lauderdale. There's a butcher down there, and I'm not allowed to name an account. But there's a very famous butcher in Pompano Beach who supplies a lot of the yachts that come into town, and they actually sell this wine. So we end up on a lot of yachts, which is always a fun story to hear about people when they, first time they tried the wine. Oh, where was the first time you tried it? Well, I was sitting in the middle of the Atlantic, and we were on our way to the Caribbean. I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the lives you guys live.
It's very, I'm grateful for the life I live.
Yeah, it's for sure. Well, if it's okay, I'd like to try the next wine. This is a bottle from a vineyard that's owned by a gentleman named Gary Francione. So this is the Sierra Mar Vineyard. So we picked two Mariner wines for you today. This literally means mountain sea, and it's from the Monterey coast in an area called the Santa Lucia Highlands. And I'm just going to pass that bottle down to you, if that's all right. And
all right.
If you're not ready for it, you got it.
Yeah.
Man of so many talents. You can pass wine. So this is a much bigger style of Pinot Noir. This is much more concentrated. This is going to have more of those rustic flavors that are associated with Pinot Noir and more of the graphite minerality that you get from this high elevation vineyard. So
Can you do me
Gary,
a favor? Could you
yes.
explain that graphite minerality to me?
Yeah, no problem at all. So Pinot Noir, just like most wines, draws its flavor from the soil, and Pinot Noir does that a little better than most wines. So that's why wines from Burgundy tend to have this really clean limestone flavor. And so that's the only way I can explain it, is if you literally took the dirt and you rubbed it in your hands and you ate it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you can actually discern it. So when we talk about minerality, we can talk about it in from the Santa Barbara area. It tends to be more salty, so it has a more salty flavor to it. And from this area, the rocks tend to be more of that, you know, it's not limestone, it's not red soils. It's just this very kind of graphite flavor. And the only way I could tell you what that tastes like is if you took a number 2 pencil from my kids right now and stuck it in your mouth. And the only reason I know what that looks like is because I'm currently teaching them at home. So,
I love
but that's
it. God bless you and your patience.
Well, that's why we drink wine, Lee.
No wonder you need wine.
For sure. Well, I mean, you've had some pretty extravagant guests, and cheers to you for that. We have a ton of fans that are currently on the show.
Oh, that's really nice.
Thank you. If you had
very nice.
If there was a ship, a yacht that you've sailed, what ship is this? Is this wine?
Explain that to me. Which one are you first season, the last season?
Oh, any ship. So if you or any type of boat, maybe that's easier. If there's a type of yacht this wine reminds you of, what would you say? What would you like in it?
Oh, wow. I would say the boat that we used in Tahiti.
La Sena, I think.
My Sienna.
My Sienna, yeah.
Yeah, and she has a unique story. She was built originally for a gentleman by the name of Jim Moran, who owned a company called Southeast Toyota, and he built all Gallant Ladies. Every boat that he's ever owned has been called Gallant Lady, and he's always had a fleet of boats, and they would consist of like 265 footers or 365 footers. And Jim Moran was the kind of guy that his boats were used not for charter, not just for him and his wife and his family and his kids, but everybody that that worked in his corporation.
Okay. From
the janitor who swept the floors on the midnight shift in the office building, got to go on all of his boats and get treated to, you know, just the big enchilada. They got it all. They got the full treatment. And he did that for everybody that worked in his company, which is just a mammoth company, because he controlled all of the Toyota and Lexus imports into the 5 southeastern United States. And every one of his employees got a trip. They got a vacation on the awesome. Gallant Ladies, and all paid for by him.
That's crazy. So did he own the boat when you chartered it?
This boat, My Sienna, was the only American-built Gallant Lady that ever existed, which was kind of unique.
For sure.
And it was built by Delta, and I was fortunate enough to have command of her, you know, during season 6.
Yeah.
And she was just, I mean, just graceful.
Graceful. Yeah. Well, that was the ship that you took into Tahiti.
Yes.
That was you and Kate's. I think you did 8 seasons, so that was you and Kate, because she was your chief stew for almost most of all of the shows.
Yeah, she was with me for 6 years, from season 2 to through season 7.
And so I read that so Bravo, you were the captain on the first season of the ship that they wanted to charter, which is how you got cast for the show, if I'm right.
Yeah, I didn't really get cast for it. I didn't really want it. That wasn't the way the whole thing started. My deal was, my boss called me up. We were at the Miami show, the Miami
Okay.
Boat Show.
Oh.
And it was a 165-foot Benetti.
Mm-hmm.
Nice boat. Coeur d'Alene was the name of the boat, Heart of the Lion.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls me out and he says, Cap, he says, some network wants to shoot a TV series. And so I'm thinking about doing it. He said, what do you think? I said, well, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
He said, well, he said, you have to take the boat down to St. Martin. They've got their own captain. They've got their own crew.
Mm-hmm.
They'll get you a house on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And you can take Marianne down with you. And you hang out there for 8 weeks. Make sure they don't, abuse the boat. And check in with it every 3 or 4 days. And other than that, you still get paid. I'm going, God, 8 weeks, St. Martin, full pay.
Yeah.
And I got to go to work once every 3 days.
I don't have to deal with the stew. I don't have to deal with the crew.
Well, we gave the rest of the crew, 8 weeks paid vacation.
Yeah.
So we're golden.
Uh-huh.
So I said, yeah, I'm in. So we get down there and we submit the paperwork to the insurance company. And the captain really that they had hired he couldn't fulfill his obligations as required by the insurance company. It was through no fault of his own. It was something totally beyond his control. He had the necessary license to do the job, but the insurance company just wasn't comfortable with it. So they said, okay, we can't do this. You got to be self-insured if you're going to do it. And my boss goes like, okay, here's the deal. He tells the network, either use my captain or we're out of here. And he's a billionaire.
Yeah.
So, a 7-figure charter really doesn't move his needle that much.
Okay.
I know that sounds terrible.
No,
but
it doesn't sound terrible at all.
But it's true. And so it didn't move his needle. And so he just said, that's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so they said, all right, we'll use your captain. And then they were going to. So that's how it came to be. That's how I got to be captain. He said, will you do it? And I said, well, yeah, do I have a choice? So it's either that, right? You'll get somebody.
I'm on, I guess.
So I didn't mind it.
And so at that point, you're captain of a ship, and the staff is. I mean, they're all certified. They're all credentialed.
Yeah, I've got totally new staff.
But you didn't select them. You don't know who they are, and they're here for
no idea. Yeah.
You did a pretty good job, I think.
Yeah, it was funny because it was. They got stuck with the old guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch the show, because your job is to wrangle them. That's the way the show kind of portrays, like, you're the captain of the ship. Nothing can happen on your ship. You have to keep everyone alive and everyone safe. And these are people you don't know and have no relationship with, at least for the first season. And I just thought, when I read that interview that you gave a couple of years ago and explained that story, I had so much more respect for, sailing the ship, because you didn't actually know the people before they got on board the first couple times.
No, and you're not totally sure of their capabilities and how they're going to interact with each other and how they're going to behave. And it's just like every day's a new adventure.
Well,
and
in the world of I was going to say, in the world of wine and agriculture, I can tell you that 2020 has been one of those years for us as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fans that are here that wanted to ask you a bunch of questions. So
sure.
I have some questions from you. If that's
fine.
All right.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you the first question that is the easiest question is, who is your favorite stew?
Oh, come on. Everybody knows. I mean, Kate is my favorite stew. We worked together for 6 years. Mm-hmm. And with Kate, after the first season, we didn't really hit it off that well.
Yeah.
We had some rough spots. and they caught her lying to me once. And so it didn't go all that smoothly. And we developed a good working relationship. Once she knew exactly where I was coming from, and I knew exactly where her head was at. And it just, you know, she is the epitome of a chief stew, as far as I'm concerned. And she was my right hand. I could just, you know, you could delegate to Kate and go, here it is, and then walk away from it. And not worry about it, because she would get it done.
Yeah.
And even if she had issues, she would deal with it. She wouldn't bring it to you unless it was something that she absolutely couldn't handle.
Got it. Yeah,
so
I thought she was...
that's what you're looking for when you want a chief stew. And my wife, to her credit, she was the same way.
Yeah.
When she worked with me.
So did you guys meet while you were the captain? Because I know you got started.
No, she actually came to work with me after I'd been on boats for a while, and then I said, "Honey, you can do this." She goes, "No, I can't." I said, "Yeah, you can," and she loved it.
So did she get to stay in the captain's chambers then instead of down below?
Absolutely.
There you go. So another person is asking about if you're going to do another season of Below Deck, because you're kind of the captain for me, and I agree with this question. I certainly
hope so.
All right, bravo. Let's get this done. I think that's a good idea. How about your favorite bosun? And can you explain what the word bosun means? Because I think a lot of people don't understand.
Bosun is the guy. He's not the first officer. But he's next in line.
Okay.
That's the progression. If you're a bosun, your next stop is first officer, especially on mega yachts. And I guess, you know, I guess it'd be a toss up. You know, Kelly was a really good bosun. You know, once we got past the rough spots. And so was Eddie. So both of them, they would be in the top two.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. More questions.
And I still stay in touch with both of them to this day.
So we can plan on maybe Bravo bringing the three of you back for a reunion, if we can manage to get Bravo to get you back on.
Good question.
I have no power, but if I ever talk to an executive at Bravo, I'm all over this. So I think that there's a lot of these questions, and I apologize that I'm just kind of flying through them right now.
Just keep going. I'm good with it.
All right, if you're okay, because I know we only asked you for half an hour. So tell me about the craziest thing that's ever happened to you on a boat. And I know season 6, getting tied up in the line was a big moment for Bravo TV. And that was he was a deckhand, I forget his name, but he became your bosun in season 7.
Ashton.
So Ashton, that was it. So what was the craziest thing that's ever happened to you while you were sailing on a ship?
Other than that, it was probably getting involved with TV.
Okay.
It's like, I mean, you're just rolling along in your career. Everything's going great. And then all of a sudden this comes out of nowhere. And you're going like, now what do I do? And then you do season 1 and you don't quite know what to expect. They don't give you a handbook that's saying, you know, okay, here now people are going to start stopping you on the street and want to get pictures, and they're going to want to do this and want to do that. And you have to like do these press things and all that sort of thing. It's like,
yeah, it's just, I was a wine guy that's right. And I was like a general manager of a winery before COVID. And now I have the opportunity to do live chats with Captain Lee. So
exactly. It's totally different. It's a different world, and getting acclimated to that is difficult. It's not like you grew up with, you know, like Hollywood parents.
Yeah. And by the way, I need to apologize. I keep saying the word ship, and I'm being reminded on Instagram that it's yacht, and there's a difference between the two.
Yeah.
I was,
Yeah, just by about 1,000 feet or so.
yeah, and it was actually my friend Joe, who's a master of seas captain. He sails the biggest ships in the world, and
Uh-huh.
I just saw him, and he's like, "You're screwing this up, Jeff. You need to start saying yacht." I also
Hello.
said once when I was on a cruise line, and I was hosted by Silversea, and they said
Mhm.
I kept calling it a boat, and I was like, "This is a great boat. I'm having such a great time." And they're the nicest people in the world, and true hospitality happens on yachts and these luxury liners. And the
Absolutely.
woman who was in charge of, basically in charge of hospitality, just whips around and she goes, "The boats are the thing we saved people in. This is a ship." Just whips around and walks away. So there's,
Yeah,
with wine, we have terminology too. So we all have
the
our thing
subtle
there,
virtues.
the subtle virtues. Hey, I really wanted to thank you for all of your time. There were thousands of questions. I couldn't get to all of them. But I just wanted to see if you had anything to say. We've got a lot of people online that are
No,
huge fans of
I'm
yours, and
I'm
you're in
so
Fort
appreciative
Lauderdale.
of the great wine. I mean, I'm gonna have some more fun after we get off the air.
Yeah, please do. I,
Absolutely, and I'm enjoying it. Thank you so very much,
you're very
and thank
welcome.
you for
Yeah.
having me.
Lee, if I could ever personally see like hang out with you at the winery, I would love to, and you are totally welcome. Please bring your wife, bring Kate, bring Ashton, bring the whole crew. We would love to see them at the
Uh,
tasting room in
I
Sonoma.
get out. I have some family in California,
Okay.
and we usually, in fact, we vacation in Monterey for like I think season 4, 5, and 6. We actually went out and stayed in Monterey for a couple of weeks after we got done filming.
Mm-hmm.
It was my getaway,
All
Marianne
right.
and I.
Well, maybe
So we will make it a
maybe
point to stop by.
I was gonna say maybe we can play some Pebble Beach, and then we'll come up and
Oh,
drink some
ooh,
wine.
ooh, you're hitting my soft spot there. Yeah, indeed.
Captain Lee, I can't thank you enough for coming on with Walt
Thank you
Wines
so
today.
much.
No, thank you. And just a reminder to those who are watching, our specials are for waltwines.com. You can find all the wines that we had today are Librisa and Sierra Mar on waltwines.com. This is Captain Lee of Bravo's Below Deck. My life
Salute.
is fulfilled. Cheers.